Okay, let's start this. Hi, good evening, guys. Let's quickly go through what Snap 2019 looks like. Reactions that I've got initially is that this year the maths was tougher. English and VA and LRDI are supposed to be the most scoring sections as such. I mean, we have Patrick with us right now. Patrick has given Snap after how many years?
I never given Snap before, maybe 20 years back.
Okay. So, first of all, what made you decide to give Snap?
Because the questions are not available of Snap. So if I want to, guide students with Snap, I don't have a database of questions for Snap.
Okay.
So the one basic idea of writing the Snap exam was to get that type of question that is coming in the exam. Because now what I get questions is from here and
Memory-based stuff.
yeah, there's no, if I go online, I'm not getting a very set pattern of questions. So if I write the exam, I have a fair idea of the questions, so automatically it helps me to guide students better.
Okay, so given that was the case, what did you feel was different than the exam that you take Maharashtra CET every year, you take XAT every year, you sometimes take IFT, and you definitely take CAT. So versus these exams, what did you find different in a Snap exam?
So if you look at, I was surprised a bit, first of all, because if you look at when you go to the paper for the exam, they very clearly mentioned that the weightage for verbal was 1.5 marks per question. The weightage for DILR logic was 1.5 mark per question, and quant was 1 mark per question. When you go to solve, the verbal section was very simple. And a lot of questions were sitters. At least they could go through it fast. It would not take much time. Okay. Similarly, logic was comparatively easy. But when you came to quant section, suddenly you get a speed breaker. And then you realize that I'm spending more time for a 1 mark question and much lesser time for a 1.5 mark question. So somewhere the balance of marks and the efforts were not there.
Okay.
So for a person who is, it would make more sense to focus on the logic and the verbal section. And if you have a time in the end, look at a few easy con question and maybe try to.
If I'm not mistaken, there are no sectional cutoffs also.
Yes, there's no sectional cutoff.
So you might as well spend your entire time in verbal and LR.
Yeah, but verbal and LR was so easy that you could easily complete a paper in the.
So basically, you ran out of paper.
But no, at least in the verbal and one. Then in the quant, it was a speed breaker, so you had to take a longer time. So you would solve quant anyway. There was no question about it because the verbal and logic would not take much time. But yes, it would make sense to spend your chunk of your time in ensuring that you get your marks in the verbal and logic, and then the rest of the time maybe in the quant. There was no point on focusing on quant at all in the paper.
Okay, so just a couple of things. Okay, so you are saying that in verbal, what were the meaning? I mean, your passages. You also get all these fill in the blanks.
There were total 8 RCs. Okay. So 8 RCs, which is 3 and 5 questions. 3 questions, 5 questions. They were lengthy. So RCs were lengthy. So if you leave that 8 questions of RCs, the rest of the questions were like one was parajumble, huge 6-sentence parajumble. Apart from that, always sitters. Antonym kya hai? Synonym kya hai? Which is the idiom case for it? Is this an adjective or an adverb or whatever? It's just like you see and you mark, you see and mark. Right and wrong is different. Either you know or you don't know.
So it's basically like the MHCET. Roughly, like.
No, not even MSCT. MSCT, you have to spend that effort to read and then try to get the answer. Here, it was not even that effort. You just, it's like you could easily solve. If you leave out the 8 RCs and that one parajumble, the rest of the questions you could easily solve in 15 minutes. Either you know or you don't know. There's no 2 questions about it.
So yeah, I mean, so that is always the case with all verbal related paper. I mean, like even in bank.
Much easier. I mean,
it's easier.
I was taking much more time to solve each question than what I could do. If it was a speed-based test, this whole set I could have solved maybe in 5-10 minutes. It would not take that much. It was just read, mark, read, mark, read, mark. I was going on a leisurely pace, and then still I'd realize that I could finish the remaining part in less than 15 minutes. What I'm trying to say is the verbal was, I'm not saying tough or easy. I'm not even commenting on that. It did not take time. There was no time required for solving verbal question. Either you know or you don't know. If you realize that, you mark and move forward. Hardly took time. And there was no passages to read. There's no big sentence corrections to read. It was like 5-word question and an answer 1 word.
That's usually what I've seen from past Snap papers or whatever I used to receive.
I have not seen
mock snaps. That's how that's how the paper is. I mean, like that is something.
So maybe I have not solved a Snap.
No, that's okay. I mean, like that's perfectly fine. I had a very fast. Okay, let's look at LR section? I mean, like DI was in the maths part itself, right? So LR
DI
was.
was in the max part. Yeah.
Okay,
LR,
so let's look at LR. What were like? I mean, again very similar to what MHCET was, easier than MHCET.
no, MSCT is comparatively much tougher. I mean, the
Oh.
MSCT puzzles are itself very tough. They
Mhm.
can be compared with the CAT level puzzles. So I'm
Mhm.
not saying that. Well, they're very standard puzzles, but the difficult level is high.
Okay.
There were only two set of puzzles which came. Two or I think two group questions. Most of them were individual questions, but there were only two group questions. But the type of question were different. It was not like
Okay.
now normal input output questions were not there. No coding question. No number
Mhm.
series question. Hardly any. There's no question. No direction questions. So hardly any questions were there on that.
Mhm.
It was like a normal snap type of question. Number of triangles. Count. They were given a diagram and count the number of. That was one question which was there. There were few puzzles. I mean, two puzzles to be precise, two or three puzzles, and that could take maybe around 10 questions. But apart from that, most of them were individual questions, which was okay. Matlab, you did not have too much of
So
efforts
what
to
was
solve.
actually asked? So one was count the number of triangles. What else was being asked?
Then one was there some intersecting figures. You could easily make out that intersection, nine intersection resemble nine. One
Okay.
intersection resemble one. So four intersections resemble four. Simple. I
Okay.
mean, that hardly anything to be
So
there.
it's an analogy sort of.
Analogy sort of, I think there was one number series which was there. Yeah, one was there number series. Then there was one question, all one type of different type of question which was there. A lot of small puzzles which are there. One on relation, one or two on relationships were there. Two, I think, on relationship.
Okay.
And yes, so small questions from different varied type of questions which was there, but which should not take too much time. One on that square grid where they give you some relationship of numbers and one question mark. You have to find out what the question mark
Okay.
was. So yes, there were a few questions which were, one question of each type, which was very different, and that's how you would work on that.
Okay. And so now let's come to the part where everyone is actually cribbing about, which is basically the
I think they should not
maths
crib.
question.
I think they should not crib. I mean, it made sense for the con to be tough. So people who find con tough, it made more sense for them, and they should be very happy about it, because this year's cutoff will not be determined by con, but would be determined by logic and verbal. Yeah, people who are strong in con, they should crib. But for people who are weak in con, I think this was the ideal paper for them. They could
Ah,
easily score decent marks in logic and verbal, and score whatever extra marks in con if required. But for the
okay.
people who relied their marks on con, I think this was a nightmare, because
Okay. Why is it a nightmare? Why would you say it's a nightmare? Was it tougher than what CAT was this year?
no, I would not say it was tougher than what cat was, but you it is more lengthier. I mean, I remember, okay, one theta question where the multiplication was a 5 digit into 5 digit number.
And there's no calculator.
I didn't know calculate. How would you
Okay.
expect? I mean, if I had to calculate also, I would take like 5 digit into 5 digit would take me, when I think would take more longer time to solve.
Yes. Yes.
So it was just more time consuming. I mean, it would take a longer time to calculate and it did purposely put that to calculate. You had to calculate. There were questions you could approximate, obviously. A lot of questions where you could easily approximate, get the answer. But what I realized is a lot of students don't approximate. And if a lot of students don't approximate, they would end up solving too much, calculating too much, and wasting a lot of time. So technically, did not make so much time to spend on content. It made sense more to focus on some few easy questions on content, pick up and solve.
Okay. So last year the cutoff was supposed to be about 75 marks for a 9 SIBM coding, but there were only LR had 1 mark questions and 2 mark questions, just like yeah, QA. Verbal had roughly the same. You also had GK last year. There is no GK, and maths is a lesser cutoff. So where do you think roughly we will end
I
up?
normally would rate a cutoff to go high, but not much. Maybe by a couple of marks or so. I'm expecting cutoff to be around 75 itself. Maybe it go to 70. Two reasons. One, um, a paper in the verbal and logic was simple and the weightage was high. So people get more marks from verbal and logic. That will definitely push the marks up as compared to last year, because the weightage per question was higher.
Mhm.
But yes, if you compare to last year, the cont was tough, so that would pull the marks down for a lot of students. So normally people who score really high marks are normally who rely on cont, and this time it would not be the case. So the marks would not go really up, because verbal you always have a scope of going wrong unless you're
Mhm. Yeah,
very
verbal
sure.
accuracy might be an
Might go
issue
wrong.
with all always.
Logic also, there were quite a few tricky questions where it could easily go wrong, is what I felt. right?
Okay.
So considering all that, I thought that yes, maybe you can say on the same par. If you're taking 75 the cutoff last year, I would consider 75 around that. I
Okay. So
assumed that the cutoff was lower than last that, and it had predicted a higher cutoff, but no, I think the cutoff will be around 75,
around
around the
75
same
for an
area.
SIBM Pune, which is about 98%, right? So okay,
Yeah.
so that I mean, so that is basically it. So I mean, anything which you would like to suggest to people when they actually go for Snap next time? What exactly?
So
So
now
there
the
are a lot of
paper
people who
is
are
over,
cribbing
exam is
right
over.
now.
Unless you
No, no,
plan to apply to some symbiosis B schools, you can. Else, now forget it. Go for the next exam. That's the only thing I can go about it. The series of the whole we are in a series of exam. There's no point of brooding over the past paper. You have next
okay,
paper immediately coming up. So that will come up in 2 3
that
weeks.
is coming up in
Focus
January,
on,
right?
yeah. So focus
So
on that and then prepare for that.
okay, cool. I think we'll stop this here. I mean, there is nothing much to speak about. We don't have the paper, nothing much to do about it. Uh, so, guys, let us know if you feel our analysis is good enough. We will say goodbye to Patrick. We will meet you again very soon. Do look at the link in the descriptions. Patrick's YouTube channel's link will be there. Subscribe to this video. See you again quickly later. Bye.